Every community has stories. This is where ours live. The We Are Grant County app brings together local voices, events, businesses, the podcast, and the magazine all in one place. And we're just getting started. We're looking for storytellers, guests, and sponsors to help shape what's next. Visit
wearegrantcounty.com.
This episode is brought to you by No Blink Pictures. Sports, seniors, families, professional headshots, even creative theme sessions. This is where your story gets captured. NoBlinkPictures.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the We Are Grant County podcast. Today, we're talking about one of those places in Grant County where people gather, catch up with friends, and enjoy a great meal. Eduardo's Pizza and Subs. Joining us today is Nikki Clemons, who took over ownership of the restaurant from her father about 3 years ago. We're going to talk about the history of Eduardo's, what it's like carrying on a family business, and some of the exciting events they have planned for the community this summer. Nikki, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So, Nikki, can you tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I graduated from Williamstown in 2007. I went to NKU for my bachelor's, my master's. I taught middle school English for 9 years. I stayed at the restaurant working summers, as most teachers do. You know, you get a summer job. So I stayed around because my dad had the business, and I apparently have never left. So I've been there on and off since I was 16. So long time.
That can happen with family businesses.
Yes.
So what was it like growing up around the restaurant?
It was always busy. So being the owner's daughter, there was never a day off. Even if you weren't scheduled and you were tagging along, you were going to go in and work. There was one day I remember years ago, we had a snow day and nobody could come in, but obviously he still had to go in. So he was like, get up, you're going to work, we're going to work today. And I was like, I'm not scheduled today. I was like, it's a snow day, but we had to go in and work. So there was never really time off.
So your dad had the restaurant for over 20 years. Originally get started with that.
So he's been doing pizza all his life. So he started out originally years ago at Pizza Hut, then moved on to Hometown, which there were a lot of hometowns around at that time. And in 2001, I had to consult him for this answer. He's on vacation. And I was like, hey, I need you to give me an answer. But in 2001, the owner was selling stores back to the company. And they decided, my dad and my stepmom decided you know what, let's try it. So they bought the Williamstown store in 2001. And then about 2002, 2003, they wanted to expand on the menu and do some different things. And Hometown was, not on board with some of those menu changes. So they branched out, created Eduardo's, expanded the menu, changed a few things. But that's ultimately what led is they said, we want to do this on our own. Didn't want to do the company thing. And here we are. 20 years later.
It was a good decision.
It was. There were a few other locations. There was a Falmouth location in Indiana. There was one in Hebron, Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. I mean, Crittenden. There was all over. And now we just have the one, like the baby store where we started.
So what do you think has helped Eduardo's over this time frame become the staple that it is in the community?
I think one thing that makes us, such a staple is the tradition that we have. We have a quality product. We make our dough and sauce fresh every single day. I was there this morning, but we have someone there at 7:00 every morning, rolling out dough, getting it ready. And when you have a good product at a reasonable price, I think people appreciate and respect that. And not to mention, we try to give back to the community. We have a lot of benefit nights that we do for the schools, for fundraisers. We help with the animal shelter and the Grant County Friends of Animals. So just anytime we can donate, our time or money or resources, we try to give back when we can.
And you do a lot of that, definitely.
We try.
Thank you for that.
We may have been to one or two of those with different sports or activities. Archery, one.
Yes.
So about 3 years ago now is when you stepped in with ownership?
Yeah, it was August of 22. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was that transition like for you?
It was hard. it was scary. I did learn, it was probably my first or second week. I Googled, I'm like, how many hours are in a week? And there are 168 hours in a week. And I think I probably spent over 100 of those
Yeah.
hours at the store. And I had one meltdown. I was like, this is too hard. I was like, I don't know how he did this. I can't do this. And I was like, I just have to find, a system that works. But ultimately it has, it's been great. Obviously, I'm not perfect at anything. And, I'm learning, even still in year 3, I'm learning that I can have a huge to-do list and I can't do it all in a day. I can't do it all in a year. It takes time. And that's one thing that we're working towards is getting all those things on our checklist done that we want to do.
I'm trying to remind myself of that every single day too.
Daily, I'm like, it's okay.
Priorities.
Just move it from one day to the next. It will get done.
It will, yes.
I know that there was a lot of like unknowns when you took over. So to get started, was it something that you ever foresaw you taking over ownership, or was it just something that just kind of like started to transition later?
I mean, I think it was always something when I was teaching, because I started out teaching at Owen County. I kind of thought about it like, hey, one day I'm probably going to do this.
Mhm.
One day this is going to happen. And then I left Owenton and came to Williamstown and taught for a few years. And that's when the talk, my dad says he wants to retire, but he's not a retirement person.
Mhm.
But
Oh,
he
I
was in
don't
the
know.
talks.
Well, he's
don't
on
know it.
vacation right now.
Well, he's on vacation, but he'll be back, and he still works around the store. And even if I don't schedule him that day, he shows up and he'll
Yeah.
say, "Well, this needs fixed, or your yard needs mowed," and he's doing little things because he doesn't know how to
Mhm.
not move and be working.
I don't know anybody like that. Nobody who decided to start a business and continue to do things like
Yeah.
that when they
I think she's referencing that I just retired in August and started a new business, but who knows?
Hey, who knows?
Like-
But once the retirement talk became more regular, I was like, okay, I need to make a transition. And so for a while, I tried to teach and do both, and it was just way too hard going from one to the next and not
Mhm.
having any time off. So that's when I made the decision to step away and not go back to teaching, which was hard. I still think about it and miss it. And I'm like, if I had more hours in the day, I could sub, I could do things, but there are not enough hours in the day
No,
to do it all,
there are not.
unfortunately.
So what was the most rewarding part of running Eduardo's? Or I guess what has been?
I think the most rewarding has been keeping it in the family
Mhm.
has been nice because I have a small child, and so I'm hoping maybe one day he might want to take it over if we're still here in 20, 30 years. But then I think back to the long hours, and in the beginning my dad actually did try to talk me out of it. He's like, are you sure? It's a lot. Like you don't really get to have a life. Like it's a lot of work. And I was like, nope, I want to do it. I want to do it. Um, so I think the most rewarding is keeping it going and knowing that maybe I'm going to leave something behind. And all the kids I get to work with, all the high school kids, getting to see them from when they start to when they graduate, when they leave. It's really great because I got to watch all my middle schoolers when I was teaching, and now I just get to see it in a different avenue.
Mhm.
It's nice that you're able to keep that connection because it really does, as a substitute, I do the same thing, right? So, I mean, having that connection with the kids is kind of hard, but having that connection through the restaurant is pretty cool.
Yeah, I still
So,
get to teach just
I
in
was
a
good.
different way.
Exactly. That's what I was
Different.
trying to get to and just never made it.
So you mentioned how your dad still comes in and does things and helps around and things like that. But what is he? Because I'm sure that there's been some maybe changes or things that you've implemented. So what does he think about those and how things are going today?
I think he's pleased. He's happy. We are still adhering to the traditions that he started. We have not gone away from our fresh product and our ingredients, but then we're trying to take it to the next level with the social media, with the website. We've expanded on those things. We're trying to get online ordering going. But again, it's been on my to-do list for 3 years, but it's so hard to roll that out and roll out an app because I want it
Yeah.
to be perfect. I don't want to roll anything out that's, going to be not done, or I know there's going to be hiccups along the
Mhm.
way, but I want it to be a good product. So I think he'd be pleased with the technology and how we're trying to keep advancing the business. That's what he says, at least. He says he's happy.
So we've talked about like your dad retiring, you taking over and things like that. So what do you think makes a small family restaurant special?
I think one thing that makes him so special is the uniqueness. We're not corporate, so we can kind of make our own rules, which is really nice. And we like to have that small town feel. Everybody remembers McDonald's when it had the playground and it was fun and it was cutesy. And now it's all just, the same. Every
Hmm.
McDonald's you go to is, kind of cookie cutter. And I like that we don't have to be cookie cutter. We can do our own thing.
Well, I can vouch that you do have that small town feel. Like when you walk in, that is what you feel. So you're getting that mark right. What do you like, or what do you love, I guess, the most about maybe the restaurant side of things?
I like that every day is different yet the same. So every day you're making orders, you're making pizza, but it's different in the sense that I get to see different customers who
Hmm.
come in. And we have some regulars who come in. I won't tell on them, but some of them come in 3, 4, 5 times a week. So we know their name, we know their order, we know their drink before they sit down. And so that's really nice that you get consistency, but you never know what's going to happen.
Hmm.
And, are we going to have a charter bus show up for the ARC that day? Or are we going to, have a school ball game let out and we fill up with, the dining room? So it's good.
So what do you maybe like the most about interacting with the multiple customers that you have?
I think it's the regulars. I love the fact that we are a place for them to come to, and our menu is so extensive that no one feels, well, I just had pizza yesterday.
Hmm.
I really don't want to have pizza again because we have great pastas, we have great sandwiches, appetizers, we have a great happy hour. And so I like that we have people who want to come sit and have dinner or lunch. Sometimes they come see us twice in the same day. So I really like that we have our customers and our regulars, and we have that small town feel that you don't get at a lot of places.
So running a small local restaurant, what is something that locals or visitors or what people might not realize about what it takes to run a small restaurant?
It takes a lot of time and a lot of sacrifice. There are a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that people don't realize. We are closed on Sundays. It's our one day a week that we are closed. And that's something that I started when I took over probably in my second year. We decided after Labor Day, we're like, you know what? Everybody needs one full
Hmm.
day off. We have to have a break. We have to reset. So it's great because my crew gets a day off. But even though we're closed on Sundays, if you drive by, you will see my car there on Sundays. It's my few hours where it's quiet. I can get things done. And even though it's a day off and we're closed, I still work. So
Hmm.
there's a lot that has to get done that if there were more hours in the day, I could take Sunday off, but it's a lot of sacrifice. A lot of times, some things I have to miss, family events, but it's it's worth it because I'm putting back into the business.
Hmm. And, you know, all that time and things like that, it doesn't go unnoticed. And thank you for that. And you had mentioned before, kind of like giving back to the community. So what does supporting the community mean to you as a business owner?
As a business owner, it's everything because without our customers, without the community coming in to support us, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be able to keep the lights on. I wouldn't be able to keep paying my employees and give them jobs. And, we're fortunate enough that we have a great high school staff. Some of them have been with me for over 3 years, which I think speaks volumes for them because a high schooler holding down a job, the same job for 3 years
Yeah.
is fantastic. So we're able to give these kids a chance and give them an opportunity, and they don't have to drive, 20, 30 minutes to get a job. And that's what they're all looking for. They want gas money and spending money in their cars. And I mean, I love that we can give back when we can.
It sounds like, you must have a good atmosphere and work environment for people to want to stay on, especially, considering it's so hard to, keep people employed with your business just in
Absolutely.
general. But
Yes.
yeah, so I mean, especially with teenagers being so fickle, like
Yes, retention is hard, and that's one thing I had to learn, is, you can hire 5 or 6 people at one time, and it's like, "Wow, we hired so many people," but then after, a few weeks or a month, they're like, "This isn't what I wanna do. I
Yeah.
thought it was gonna be different," and so then maybe, like, 1 or 2 will stay, and I'm, like, starting back over. But one thing I took from teaching that I tried to carry over was, the environment and the team that we have. We have team meetings regularly. We go on team outings. We just went a few weeks ago and did an escape room. There was like 16 or 17 of us that went. So we try to do at least 2 or 3 times a year a team outing where we all get together because we work hard, but then we also have fun. And we do a big Christmas party in December. So I tried to take those pieces from the education side and bring them over because I want them to stay. I want them to like where they work.
Mhm.
It's not always going to be fun every day. It's going to be hard, but I want them to enjoy it. And a lot of them have built friendships because of those team outings. So now they all go to movies together and they'll go to Kings Island together and then they don't invite me, but I'm like, that's fine, I guess, Don't invite the boss, but we're actually going to go in the fall. We're going to go to Kings Island again, a big group of us. So it's great because we get to have fun outside of work, which is nice.
And that is the key. It's building those relationships that really help the workplace survive.
Yes.
So I know providing all that to your employees and things like that is a major part of it. But what are other ways that you guys give back to the community?
So one thing we did this past year was as a group, we all started a coin drive. So for the whole month of November, we did a coin drive. We had 2 teams. We had, our kitchen crew and then we had our front of the house crew. And the drive was geared towards the Christmas tree. And so we picked 8 or 9 kids and we all went to Walmart. We went shopping for these kids. We wrapped presents and it was so great that we were able to help, 8 or 9 families have a good Christmas. I'm trying to remember how much they all raised, but they made it a huge competition. If they saw somebody had more money one day, it was like, nope, we got to put our change in the next day in the next jar. And they really got into it. And I think they raised almost $800
Oh,
just,
goodness.
putting all their change in every day, cleaning out their cars and
checking under the mattress seats.
all the servers were cleaning out their
cushions.
aprons for their change. And it was really great because it was important to me, but it was great to see that it was important to them. And they had fun with it and, teasing each other. We have more money than you today. And
Yeah.
it was for a good cause.
That's awesome.
Competition can be good for motivation.
Yeah.
We sometimes do that with our son too.
Yeah. Sometimes, all the time.
Every day.
Hey, you got to do what works.
So, I mean, I know I've heard this statement many, many times. But what does it make you feel when you hear somebody say, all right, let's go meet at Eduardo's? Because that is, that if you're talking to a group of people and they need to go meet, they're going to say, we're going to go meet at Eduardo's or meet us up there or something like that. What does that make you feel when you hear that or know that they chose Eduardo's to have their meet?
It makes me excited. I love when I hear people say, let's go to Ed's or I'll meet you at Ed's. And I'm like, oh, I know where they're going, It's funny because I hear everybody else call it Ed's or Eduardo's. I call it the store.
Yeah.
Where most people think of the store. They're like, I'm going to Walmart. I'm going to Rulers. I'm like, no, I'm going to store. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm going to work.
Yeah.
So in our house, that's what we call it. We call it going to the store. But it makes me excited that when they could go anywhere, we have a few options, in Williamstown and Dry Ridge, and they picked us. So that's really special.
We've kind of touched on it a little bit, but what do you think Eduardo's means to the community?
I hope they have a positive association with Eduardo's, whether it's with a meal that they had or an experience they had. We have a lot of opportunities for the benefit nights, for things we have going on this summer. People can gather, they can hang out. I just hope that it's a good time for them. Anytime they come in, I hope it's pleasant for them.
I get asked this question all the time. Yes, No Blink Pictures does way more than just sports. We still capture athletes and game action, but we also photograph senior sessions, tween sessions, and even theme shoots. So whether your kid wants to be a superhero, step into a character, or just have something fun and different, we can make that happen. And if you're on the other end of things, needing family photos or professional headshots, we've got that covered too. At the end of the day, It's about capturing people as they are, in the moments that matter. If you've been thinking about booking, now is a good time. Check out noblinkpictures.com and get your session scheduled.
You've mentioned like fundraisers and different things that you guys do for the community. I also know that you have several events planned that you guys do out on the patio and stuff. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
I think this summer we have our best lineup that we've had since I took over. We have a lot of local bands that everybody loves, but we have some locals who we haven't had in a few years and they're coming back. So I'm excited. We have our Tuesday steak night every year coming back. Ed, like I said, he can't retire, so he's got to be on the grill on Tuesdays. So he's coming to do our steak nights. But then we have Fridays and Saturdays. We've got live music. We have karaoke. And then on Wednesdays, we're going to try something new. We're going to have Singo. So if you've ever done Singo, it's a version of a bingo, but with songs, and it should be a good time. So we're going to try that this summer. And then we have a mobile bookmobile that comes. A woman, she came last summer, and it was fantastic. And we had a lot of people say, when is she coming back? I couldn't make it to that one. So we're going to try once a month, having her on Wednesdays. And I think it's going to be a really, really good summer. We've got all new patio furniture. We've got, fully covered. So rain is not an issue this summer. We have a few locals. We've got the Late Nighters who are going to be coming. We've got Southern Highway, Pappy's Jam Band, Joker's Wild, Flatwood Holler, Whiskey Town, Rita Beach. Everybody loves Rita Beach when she comes. She's our Tuesday night on our steak night. We have Absent Dawn, Last Call, Taylor Henry. Those are just a few, but I think everybody's going to have something to enjoy this summer on the patio.
It sounds like it. I mean, there's many, many options. I know you guys have been doing events for a number of years. Do you know why that even started or what idea kind of came in to get that started?
So originally, if you have been around long enough, like I have to remember, we used to have a drive-through many years ago. And in the summer, we had our patio. And then in the winter, we would close it down, open the drive-through back up. Well, in 2014, Ed decided permanent patio. So we had the permanent patio built and all the events started taking place. He saw, instead of driving 20, 30 minutes to Georgetown, to Florence, at least give some people in the community something to do here. Because everyone always likes to say there's nothing to do, but he was like, okay, we're going to give something. We're going to have steak nights. We're going to have bands, karaoke. And so that's just something that we have carried on and we've continued to add on to the patio. So now everything is covered. It's enclosed. It's all weather. In the winter, we can still use the patio with the heaters and it's fantastic. So that need that he saw, hey, we need things to do in our town. We need things for people to come out to, on a Friday, Saturday, or even on a Wednesday night.
I know we had a Christmas party for Mason Corinth, and it was quite enjoyable. I mean, for being very, very cold, it was very nice. Maybe with a few drinks, a little too warm, I would say.
You have the heaters and a lot of bodies back there. It gets pretty toasty. And I tell everybody that. I'm like, I promise you, it warms up. You think it's really cold, but it will warm up. I promise.
Yeah.
So now that we've kind of talked a little bit about the history of Eduardo's, some of the newer things that are going on, we want to make sure people stay hungry and are ready to go visit. So
we're getting ready to open in 30 minutes for lunch.
What are some of the popular menu items that you guys have?
I told my crew I was doing this podcast and that this was one of the questions. And they said, please don't say a stuffed pie. They said, please don't bring it up. It is one of the more popular items. They are not as big of fans because it takes a few extra minutes. It's time consuming, but it is delicious. If you've never had a stuffed pie, it is fantastic. My favorite, I would say, probably is our new fried banana pepper bites. They are delicious. You can dip them in ranch, marinara. It's all good. I think one of our staple items is probably the mozzarella breadstick. Everybody orders it. It's fantastic. It's the number one appetizer. We do a test every year to see what our number one appetizer is, and it's always the breadstick every time. So, but you can't go wrong.
Well, I'd have to ask, what is a stuffed pie, I guess?
Okay, so the stuffed pie, it's basically 2 pizzas in one. So we do a layer of crust, we do our sauce, we do all your toppings, all your cheese, Then we put another layer of crust on top and bake it just like a pie with more sauce and cheese on top. And it is like a pie, and it is very filling, and it is fantastic.
Sounds like a double-decker kind of thing.
Yes,
It sounds like something
exactly.
I might need to try.
3 different sizes, small, medium, or large.
You've doomed your staff.
Yeah.
I think.
I might have to try that.
I told them on our next shirts I'm going to put on the back, ask us about our stuffed pies, and they said none of us will wear that.
Yes, you will.
So, you will.
So you've kind of talked about the items that you like and all that. Now, we were there recently and ordered, what was it? The cheese
curds.
Cheese curds.
I was
And
wondering if you were going to bring it up.
I was gonna bring
just
it up,
because
yeah.
I don't believe it, but it's true. Okay, they're like dip them in caramel, and I was like, no, those don't go together.
When you bring it out, you have both in there, just the marinara and then some caramel.
But I'm the kind of person that I don't try new things. That was totally out of my wheelhouse to even consider trying. But I was like, what was it? It tastes like a funnel cake type thing.
Yeah, like a funnel cake or a cheesecake bite. Now, here's where you can get really adventurous.
Oh, I don't know.
Here's where you can try. Because whenever we take out the caramel, people are like, caramel? That sounds weird. But if you try it, it's delicious. Now,
it is.
I
I'll
like
have
to
to
dip
say,
my
yeah.
cheese curds. We have our cinnamon sticks that we drizzle with icing. I dip them in the sugar icing, and oh my gosh, it is so good.
I may have added the caramel to. I was like, hey, can I get a little caramel or a little icing extra? And they said, sure. And it was very tasty.
Those are a popular one too. People are very shocked how much they like it when they try it with the caramel.
I know I was. And I was like, because I don't normally try things like that. I'm like, no, I'll just trust you. But I was like, I have to try it. Yeah. And it really did taste like that, funnel cake type thing. And
well, I think it also satisfies that salty sweet kind of.
Exactly.
So.
Yes, it most definitely did.
I'm like, but I just like and I'm on the opinion. I'm like, no, I just want my cheese curds. And then I was like, marinara's good for me.
Yeah.
So you can have the caramel. I'll have the marinara.
So I know we get, you guys get a lot of regulars and things like that, and Eduardo's has been around for a while. But as you mentioned before, we do get a lot of visitors to the area. So, and you always get that ultimate question: well, what's good here, or what should I have here, or whatever.
And as the owner, I have to say everything is good.
Exactly,
everything is good here. I guess I always start asking them, when they say what's good, and I say, what are you in the mood for? Are you in the mood for a pizza or a sandwich? Because I can give my recommendations. But if I was going to recommend anything to anyone, it would be an Italian sub, which is fantastic with the pepperoni, the ham, the salami, or banana peppers, Italian dressing. It's great. But then also I would recommend, and people sleep on this, but our gluten-free crust is great. Like the cauliflower crust is so good. Doesn't matter what you put on it. It is really good.
I didn't realize you guys had that. That might be something to try. I tried to do that at home and it did not go very well. So if someone can do it for me, I might try that.
It is really good.
That was a number of years ago. I haven't tried since.
I would say your cooking skills have improved a little bit since.
Yeah, but I'm not willing to try that. Not on my own.
We'll save that for the experts.
Is there something, I guess that might be something that on your menu that people might overlook, like I've overlooked it. Would there be anything else on the menu that they might overlook?
I know they can't overlook the stuffed pies because we put that front and center right in the middle of the menu. But I guess one thing people might overlook, I'm trying to think. Everything kind of gets ordered. I guess one of our appetizers, probably our flatbreads. We've got 3 different flatbreads. Everyone goes to the breadstick, so they go for the bacon cheese fries or the wings. But we have a really good chicken flatbread, which is seasoned. It's got Alfredo, it's got chicken, it's got cheese. It's great. And then we have a Philly flatbread, but those kind of don't get ordered as much as the others. They're kind of the neglected appetizers.
So we've covered, several different things. But what is maybe like a moment that you've taken where you've just kind of, maybe on those Sundays when you're there alone, you've just looked around the restaurant and thought, this is exactly why a small town restaurant matters?
So my favorite time of day is when I'm there before we open. And it's usually this time of year, right before we get our patio up and running. And when I can stand outside and it's quiet and it's nice. The sun is out. And I look at the patio and I look at it all put together. And it's all coming together and it looks so nice. And it's ready for guests. It's welcoming. And that's when I'm like, okay, this is for a reason. This is going to be great. There's a reason we're doing this. And I just like the calm of it all. And it just makes me feel, I don't know, happy to see it all coming together.
It's awesome. So if somebody has never been to Eduardo's before,
How?
yeah,
How?
I ran into someone at Walmart the other day and they said, Eduardo's. I had it on my shirt. They said, where's that at? And I said, oh, it's over in Williamstown. We're right past Tractor Supply. And they said, never been there. I'm like, wow. I'm like, well, you should come by. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to do the podcast because I said, they've never been there. How is that possible?
Well, I mean, we've been in Grant County for a while, but there are new people coming to live in the county more and more. So, I mean, those people do exist.
Yes.
Growing.
So, and like I said before, we do get a lot of visitors to the area. So what would you tell them before they were going to walk in the door? What would be something that you would tell them?
I would tell them that they're going to have a great experience from the food to your customer service. We have a fantastic front of the house staff. My hosts and servers know how to move with a purpose because before I even say anything, they know Nikki's going to tell us to move, so no standing around. So I know customers are going to be taken care of. I know that they're going to get a great quality product coming out of the kitchen. We have a great kitchen staff. You will never see them standing around. They're working 24/7. Like every time they're on the clock, they are working. And so I just want everyone to know that when they come, they're going to be taken care of and you're going to be treated like a guest. And that's what you do when you go out. You want to be treated like a guest. You want to be taken care of when you go out and you're spending your time and your money and, you're not having to cook at home for yourself. You want that pleasant experience.
And I can attest that you guys do that and you do that very well. So thank you very much.
So one of the things I was wondering about, because obviously the relationships between your regulars and your customers is very important. Has there been any feedback over the years from customers that you've has tried to incorporate?
Absolutely. We have a lot of regulars like we've talked about, and they'll say, you should try this on your menu. You should try that. And so there was one, in the fall and in the winter, we do soup season. We do our soups and our sandwiches. And someone said, you need to try a chili, put chili on your menu. And so we tried a really new good brisket chili this year, a smoked brisket chili with cornbread. And so we tried that and it went over fantastic. And I said, okay, you know what? That's going to be in every year. That's what we're going to do. Our fish fries actually was brought to me by a customer. They said there's not, a lot of local fish fries. Can you guys try that? And I said, I'll be honest with you, I've never been to a fish fry. I'm not sure how that would work, but we will look into it. And so we gave it a shot. We had to get a whole nother fryer to make it happen in our kitchen and make room, but we did. And we've done it, I think, 2 years now, maybe 2, maybe 3. But it's gone over really well. And I never would have thought to try a fish fry at Eduardo's
at a
they
pizza,
if they hadn't come to me and said, you should give this a shot and look into it. And so I was like, okay. And it went great. So we're going to keep doing the fish fry every year.
I'm sure your regulars give you plenty of things to think about and
Yeah.
maybe some suggestions maybe you don't necessarily need.
I'll say one suggestion we get a lot, and I'm glad you brought this up, is the buffet. Everybody's like, you should bring the buffet back. When are you bringing the buffet back? We still get phone calls. Do you still have the buffet? And I'm like, unfortunately, no. We completely, before we stopped doing it, COVID kind of shut that down. And then we did it a few times for benefits. And then finally we're like, okay, we're just going to remove the structure altogether. And maybe people will, out of sight, out of mind kind of thing.
Nope.
But that didn't work. But we took the buffet out and the salad bar and we added 16 more seats, which is great because on Fridays we go on a wait and we need those 16 seats.
There you go.
But that is one thing I can tell everybody. I am sorry. The buffet at Eduardo's
It's not
coming back.
It's not coming back.
It's not coming back.
Lay
I'm
it to
sorry.
rest. Sorry, guys.
It had a good run,
Yeah.
but it is not coming back. But I
Yeah.
do get that one at least once a week. You should bring the buffet back.
Yeah. And then you smile and go, yeah,
Yeah, okay.
something to think about.
Yeah.
Well, Nikki, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you
Um,
for having me.
we're glad that you wanted to be a guest. So thank you for that. And thank you for everything that you're doing for the community too.
Thank you.
We've only been paying customers. We can actually say not compensated, not sponsored. But yes, we've enjoyed our time there as well. And Michelle said that you were interested in coming on. I was like, oh, cool. Community experience, which is exactly what we're looking for. And that's so great. I wanted to thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you all for doing this. I think this is great. I mean, it's been a fun little time.
Yeah, we love sharing your story. If you haven't stopped by Eduardo's lately, be sure to visit, enjoy a great meal, and check out some of the events happening on the patio this summer, of course. And as always, you can discover more local businesses, stories, and events by visiting wearegrantcounty.com. So thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time on the We Are Grant County podcast.
Before we go, a quick thank you to our sponsor, No Blink Pictures, capturing athletes, families, and moments that matter. If you're ready to book your session, check them out today. NoBlinkPictures.com. Thank you for listening to the We Are Grant County podcast. Be sure to check out other episodes and make sure you subscribe so you're always notified when a new episode is available. Stay up to date with all things Grant County by using the We Are Grant County app. And you can find that at wearegrantcounty.com.
ToadTalkMedia.com.